Okie dokie, smoky jokey, or whatever that is. I am on the way to the gym. Boys just got on the bus. I'm heading to the gym. And today's Friday as this is being recorded. And so day 5, week 2. Sorry, I gotta take this, usually take this before I go. So, what I'm taking right now, if you can understand my voice, is my own homemade concoction for a pre-workout. So what I did is looked up what the actual real active ingredients that you can need for a pre-workout. You look at a pre-workout, they're filled with all bunch of stuff that aren't really necessary for a pre-workout. And looked at the raw ingredients, and I just bought the stuff in bulk, or the big powder things, and just mixed my own like a chemist. And so what I took, the pills just took is just the caffeine pills. And in here, what do I have in here? I have some creatine, I have beta alanine, and what else do I got? Oh, electrolytes. I put some electrolytes in there. That adds some flavor too. Dextrose, which is a fast-acting carb. Since I don't really eat in the morning, just because of timing and such, maybe I should. I've tried it before. It just doesn't really work well for me before workout. But you need some carbs in my system. There's really fast-acting carbs. Citrulline malate. Anything else I put in there? I think I'm forgetting something. I can't remember, and so what I'll have to do is, I don't remember, they all do. Yeah, but I'll have to do a video when I explain what the purposes of those different things. But stuff like creatine and beta alanine, those two are things that, like, if you take it for the first time, it's not going to have any benefit for you. It's one of these things that actually have to build up over time, so you got to take it daily. So even when you're not working out days, if you're a rest day, I still recommend taking those, because you have to build it up and then maintain that to get the benefit out of it. So let me finish this, because it doesn't hit immediately. Gotta have some time. Now this was I don't drink anymore, but this was a pint. I would be able to crush this thing. I used to be able to chug pretty good, but don't do that stuff any longer. These cars are coming. All these cars. Why are not usually this many cars? All right. And excuse me. And so today's exercise, it's the third day of chest this week, and chest and triceps. Those are our focus points for me, for sure. And hopefully going to see some improvement through this mesocycle, or things could change up. I'll be getting my one-on-one plan for my coach here soon, and I'm not sure if we're going to continue what I'm currently doing, or we're going to change up everything completely. Either which way, I'm fine, because I want to follow what he says and want to grow. One thing I'm not sure is what we're going to do about my weight, if we're going to keep going up or do a little cut. I'm not sure. I weighed myself this morning, a little over 190 pounds. Just give you context of where that is at compared to how I used to be. So I started this journey kind of in July. It is now December, and in that time I think I was like 170 pounds, and I was skinny. I'm 5'10", and so for some people 170 might look a little big. For me, it was skinny, kind of skinny fat, I guess. At one point in my life, I was over 210 pounds, and I was fat. I dropped down to 150 pounds. You could see 55 pounds, and this was years ago. So I've had some big weight fluctuations. But one thing I was never just freaking jacked. You know, when I was football and being scouted and such, and out of high school, I was strong, and but I was never like jack. Really strong legs and that type of stuff. But upper body was never too, I'll just use the word jacked. And now, we're going to be 39 here soon, I want to get jacked. So let's do this. I don't know why. I just do something I haven't done and focus on my nutrition, my fitness, and get better, get my kids, want to be around a long time. You know, at least the quality of the time I have. I don't have make the decision on the quantity of time, but want to be there for them. And so they're off to school. I'm gonna work out, then work. Yesterday I was doing some training with some of the new loan officers that are joining our branch. I did yesterday's training was on prospecting, and then the meeting, so 2 separate trainings. But we go over a lot of principles, and one of the nice things about learning principles is that they can be applied to many different avenues. For instance, we have a structure of how we do communication with people called RVA, rapport, value, ask. And if you structure up your communications, whether it's a cold call, a face-to-face meeting, or a phone meeting, a text message, an email, you structure it with that format, RVA, rapport, value, ask, you will increase the odds of success, and people will respond to you much better. Now, I'm not going to talk about RVA today in depth anyway, but when it comes to it, is we went over that, and it actually applies in both prospecting and the meeting with the realtors. But let's talk about prospecting, and specifically let's talk a little bit about cold calling. I'm a really big proponent of it. It works great. I know it's not the most fun thing to do for most people, but it's fantastic. Now, when we are cold calling, there's some things we have to remember when we're cold calling to get our mindset right and get into the mind of the person that we are calling. One is they're not expecting our phone call. Okay, we have to know that. Yeah, we can say, yeah, of course not. But remember, we're not expecting our phone call. So should we expect them to be all happy and go lucky when we call them out of the blue? No, we should not expect that. So it changes our perspective a little bit going into that call. The second thing is they get other calls like that, other cold calls. In our case, our loan officers, the realtors are calling, those realtors get calls from other loan officers. And since they get other calls, cold calls from other loan officers, they're automatically going to assume that you are like every other loan officer that calls them, right? And that's because that's all they have a basis on. I get cold calls, and that's loan officers just like every other loan officer. And that is our opportunity, because we want to show them and prove to them that we are not like every other loan officer that is cold calling them. So how do we do that? Well, one is that we approach the call differently than every other loan officer does. And so when somebody receives a cold call, is they automatically default into their mode of how they handle it, because the person calling them is doing and saying and behaving the same way as every other person. So they get in that groove. So, but when we call, or when you call, is that you don't want to sound like them. Yes, you're using the same tactic, a cold call, but your approach, your tonality, even some of the words you might say are got to be different, because otherwise you're going to get lumped in there. You want to knock them off their path. So if they're going on a straight line thinking this is how I'm going to handle the situation, your goal is to say some things, not that you're offensive or anything like that, but to knock them off, for them to realize, oh, this person's not like every other person. And sometimes, how do you do that? It's by telling them that, hey, you're getting a lot of these calls, aren't you? And they're going to say, yeah. And they all basically sound the same, right? And they're all pitching you the same thing, right? Well, I got good news for you. I'm not like everybody else. By simply doing that, it's going to give you the opportunity to get further in the conversation, because you're showing you're not like every other loan officer or every other salesperson calling them. And that gives you the opportunity. Now, does that mean you're going to get every realtor or every person to want to meet with you? Of course not. But it's going to increase the likelihood and the opportunity that you'll get more of them to be willing to listen to you and to give you the opportunity. And so when you're cold calling, make it fun, spice it up, be different. That's going to, one, keep it more fresh. Two, is it's actually going to help you get more opportunities. All right, I'm at the gym. I'll see you later.